And we are right back here on the Seth Williams Show. And there's Seth. There he is, I think.
Yes.
All right. And
Hey.
that, of course, was the band Ten Ton Mojo for the new music moment. My never-ending quest to keep proving that rock is very far from dead. It's just not in the mainstream right now. That band kicks fucking ass. Just
Amen.
as simple as that. They are fantastic. They have a new record called Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul. It is, I'm not sure if it's out yet or it's going to be out here in another week or so, but let's find out from this guy, Mr. Scott Lano. Scott, how are you, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Hey, Seth.
Hey, man.
Chris.
What's up, Scott? Well,
Thanks.
dude.
Thanks for letting me stop by, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, before we even get into it, how about answering the question? Is it out or is it coming out?
It is coming out. It comes out across all the digital streaming platforms on June 30th. Anywhere you listen to or grab your music or stream your music, you can find it. And Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul. And June 30th, release date, this Friday.
Now, one of the things I saw on your website, 10tonmojo.com, correct?
Yep, correct.
Is like one of the coolest things I've seen in a very long time. I hope you still have them available. But on your website, it says you have a cassette version of stuff on.
We do. We did a cassette version, and we did a CD version. And in the late summer, we'll be doing a vinyl single. And that single will come with a download card so you can get the rest of the tunes off the EP. But yes, we're doing cassettes. Cassettes are back.
That's awesome. I saw that. I was like, man, I got to get all three. Like, I got to get the vinyl when it comes out. I got to get the CD. Got to get the cassette because
we're all new classic rock guys. You know, we call ourselves the new classic rock, and we thought it'd be super cool to have a cassette. Of the stuff, you know, and we just thought it was too cool, and we're like, all right, we got to do a limited run of cassettes for sure, you know.
Right on, man. Yeah. Well, dude, you are part of we do this segment here on the show. We do it every week called the New Music Moment. This started from an argument Seth and I had maybe 6 months ago, where he was claiming he was going along with the whole Gene Simmons thing. Rock is dead. There's no new rock out there. Blah blah blah. Right. And I was like, wait a minute. I get fed 50 CDs a week of great bands. Right. And the only thing that's dead is commercial radio playing it.
Exactly. There's no medium like there used to be to expose new bands to audiences on the FM dial anymore. Everything is all kind of, even on satellite radio, right? Everything's in a compartment, right? If you're famous enough, you get your own channel. Right. So it's really kind of rock and roll is back to where it started, underground. You got to go out there, you got to find it, and you know if you dig it, you got to support it because
absolutely,
you know it's that kind of a thing right now. But we're out there. We'll be playing all summer, you know, from the end of the world to your hometown. So if you're if you see us, come on out and say hi.
Now you guys are based from New York, right?
Yeah, we're based in New York City. Although we all live like kind of around New York City, you know, the other guitar player actually lives in Manhattan, but it's kind of like Long Island, Staten Island, upstate. So the city is kind of like the central meeting place for us. You know what I mean?
My daughter's actually flying into Manhattan on Friday.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Her first time ever going to New York. She's only 16 years old, and I'm terrified. Are the streets okay in New York now? What's going on?
It was really bad after the pandemic. I mean, it was the Wild West. It is way better. I am happy to report. Good. Things are finally getting back to normal.
Cool.
It took a minute. Obviously, I know we all experienced it, you know, but right after the pandemic, things were a little chaotic, but things are way better now.
That's good, man. Well, dude, let's dig into 10 Ton Mojo because I'm imagining a lot of people are hearing about your band for the first time. So why don't we start with just a little history of the band, man? How long have you been together? You know, how long has this lineup been together and how is it developing?
I mean, the band's been together almost a decade. This particular lineup's been together about 5 years. We started out as all guys in different bands in the New York City scene, session musicians, guys in the biz. We came together, we started to do some stuff, and we thought we'd be like more of like a blues-based, almost kind of a coffee shop band with maybe some acoustic stuff. But as we started to write tunes, it started to take on a life of its own. All of a sudden, we had like this almost little bit of a Southern rock sound. Right. It wasn't even really talked about. It just kind of happened based on our influences. And the band just kind of grew from there. we started attracting some of the better players in town, and we've got like the current lineup that we have now that brought the attention of the local music scene. We were able to pack rooms and eventually get ourselves on Curtain Call Records and become more of a national act. We've been out to LA a bunch of times. We play around as much as we can. A bunch of festivals last year, the Easy Rider Festival. And this record is kind of the culmination of the last 3 years of the band dealing with the friggin' pandemic, which shut us down for a long time. And, you know, and just writing these tunes and working together. You know, we kind of pivoted to being in the studio and coming up with the best stuff we can. And this EP is a reflection of that.
Right on, man. And now you worked with one of my absolute heroes, and that being Max Norman. That guy is, I mean, and for people that don't know, any of the good Ozzy albums, little record by Megadeth, Rust in Peace. You might have heard of that one.
Yeah.
Considering most thrash metal people think it's either one or two of the greatest of all time.
Yep.
And Max is an unbelievable producer.
Yeah, he really is.
And what's interesting to me, at least I've interviewed Max a few times now, and his stories are so different than anybody else. And I'll tell you why, and you tell me if this meets what you guys met with. When I talked to Max, he talked about how he doesn't only listen to what you guys are doing, but he kind of watches what's going on in the studio. And sometimes he can tell that you're too far, the drums are too far away from the guitar players or too far away from the mics or whatever, to where it doesn't sync perfectly. Did he do that kind of stuff with you guys?
Absolutely, he did. And he's got like a sixth sense for that kind of stuff. He's got an amazing set of ears, and he's definitely like a roll your sleeves up, kind of get your hands dirty kind of producer, where he's in there saying stuff like that. Move the amp, move the drum kit. Let's try a different mic. Let's try a different part. Sometimes as a band, he throws us like a wild curveball, and we got to be able to hit the curve, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, yep. And so it was really an amazing experience working with Max Norman. I can't even tell you. Talk about School of Rock. I mean, that was real life School of Rock stuff right there, working with that guy.
Now, I know you guys also did some stuff with like Kicks, Enough's Enough, Molly Hatchet. Who are some of the like bands you like doing tours with or doing gigs with?
We love playing with Kicks. We've played with John Five solo. We loved playing with him. I mean, we love playing with Enough's Enough. They were great guys. I would have to say Kicks is one of our favorite bands to play with. They just stopped though. They just retired. They just did Monsters of Rock Cruise, and it's going to be their last thing. So a guy named Ronnie Youngkins, who was the guitar player in Kicks for a lot of years, he's down in Virginia, which isn't far from us, and we'll get together with him and we'll do some stuff with his solo band sometimes, and that's a lot of fun as well.
Right on. Well, dude, talk a little bit about Rebel Heart Gypsy Soul. Four killer tunes. Kind of each one has its own identity, which I like personally, because I think if you would have done 4 songs that all sound the same, well, it gives a false impression of what you do. This definitely does like kind of like the one loop roller coaster type thing, where you get all 4 kind of styles that you guys do in one little EP. Is that accurate?
That is completely accurate. That is exactly what the EP is. It reflects all of our influences as a band, you know, everything that everybody brings in. It's got all the different sounds that we like, with the exception of a ballad, which we didn't feel like including on such a short record.
Sure.
But it's got, you nailed it. That's exactly what's going on with that record. The first single looks like it's going to be Easy Come, Easy Go.
Okay.
And, you know, like I said earlier, that record's a product of those weird pandemic years where we pivoted and went back into the studio because we couldn't get out and play. You know, we did some streaming stuff, but I know you probably seen a lot of the different streaming stuff. It was either great or you couldn't watch it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we were real careful with what we did there. But yeah, that's what the record is. And you're right, man. Those are our influences right out in the open there. You got a little bit of the AC/DC, you got some of the Southern rock, and you've got a little bit of like the Zeppelin groove stuff going on with a little something. And those are the bands that we love, you know, and that kind of comes out, you know. Like I said, we never talk about it. It just kind of happens when we get in the room, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys play Viper Room and stuff like that, but you also mentioned playing some of these festivals. I personally, again, argue with Chris. I think these festivals are killing rock music because I want to see more local bands, more rock bands playing some places in England. Have to go to spend $300 for a ticket to go see 18,000 bands in Columbus.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And even if all 18,000 bands are great, you get fatigued at a certain point through the festival. We were talking about that the other day, but we were kind of talking about it more on a business level because you got your tour support and your tour money. You want to get up in front of as many people as you can. So what a lot of bands say, well, gee, I'll jump on this festival because I can play in front of 5,000 rather than 500. But I think what Seth is saying is he wants to see those, the headliner, the opener. They come, they play a medium-sized venue. It's a kick-ass night out. You're not there for fucking 18 hours. You know what I mean? And it's still a great night of entertainment and a great night of music. I think we can get back there. I think this is still part of the hangover of the whole pandemic thing where guys just want to get these huge bills together, get out there and pack as many people in as they can. And I think it's a lot more to do with a business model than anything else, than a creative thing,
Yeah, well, and here's, I mean, again, this is always my argument. The problem with even going out on like a 4-band bill, like if you guys went out with, I don't know, Stone Temple Pilots, Bush, and Alice in Chains, I'm just throwing names together.
Yeah.
You're going to play at 6. You're not going to, and nobody's going to be there because everybody's getting out of work. And by the time they get out of work, throw something down their face to eat and take a quick shower, change clothes, they're missing you. So that doesn't do you any good.
Exactly.
And then the other biggest problem is if they're going to see Alice in Chains, and let's face it, that's who they're going to see, they're not leaving any money to pick up a $10 CD from you or a $20 shirt. They're going to buy the Alice in Chains $85 hoodie or whatever, and it just doesn't help you.
Well, for a lot of young bands, they'll take the chance and do that. And then later on, follow that up with another tour where you're more the band and you can get that apart. So it's like ladder climbing, one rung at a time and you try to get to the top, No, you're right. The other piece to that though is, and I'm 54 years old, so I'm a little bit older than pretty much everybody, but being of that age, I grew up in the age where whoever the major band was, they took out the bands. Half my collection is from seeing bands that I didn't know prior to seeing them. Right. And that day is done. I think that day is done. Yeah.
And it sucks.
So you just got to use what tools you have. And we use social media. We got to thank you guys for having us on. We can get the word out a little bit and just use that until we're in a position where we know we can pack these rooms and we'll just go out and do it on our own,
What do you think about the streaming? What do you think about streaming and buying CDs and streaming one song at a time? Wouldn't it be better if people just spent their money and went out and bought stuff as they're trying to get it on YouTube or whatever they do?
Absolutely. I think the music industry made a big mistake, 25, 30 years ago by giving away their product. You should be able to download a single. And if you want the CD, get up, get in the car, drive to the record store and buy the record. That's the product. And that was the product. Now the product is more of a, like you said, a download. It's kind of a whole different experience. Part of the reason of doing the cassette, right? And later on, we're going to put out a vinyl single of Easy Come, Easy Go, is you can hold something in your hand, right? Mm-hmm. You can read it. You can look at the pictures. I know we've all experienced that as fans, and I feel like that's missing a little bit right now.
No, it definitely is. And the hardest part to teach people with the way the model is that music has value. It's when I bought albums, when I went to a store and I bought an album or a CD or whatever it was, man, half of that for that whole day was done. Because for me, it was, I'm analyzing every word, every name. Oh, here's the guy from Accept. He also worked with Ozzy, or, it was an event. Now it's hard to remember the photo on Spotify that tells you what it is.
Right,
You know, there's just there's no connection anymore.
Yeah, the substance is missing. You know, I was backstage at the Beacon Theater a while back talking to a producer. It wasn't Max, it was somebody else. And he said, you know, we used to put these singles out. We used to say to ourselves, does this single have legs? In other words, 6 months from now, will it still be in the top 40? Okay, that conversation doesn't exist anymore. They want something that's good this week, and then next week they want something else. And if you think about a band like Aerosmith, right? Their first record comes out, Dream On is on it, but Dream On doesn't really become a hit until after Walk This Way comes out, and then people discover the new music, the older releases, and it becomes like the new thing. I don't see that happening for bands now anymore.
No.
It's once you release something, people digest it, they want the next thing.
And if they don't digest it, then your band's over.
Right.
I look at some of the biggest bands in the history of music, the Chicago, Journey, bands like that, Foreigner. They didn't hit on their first records big. Journey had no hits for 3 records.
Right. And the record company believed in that, and they kept doing it. I think now, if that was to happen to a band, like, the record company would abandon you. You know what I mean?
We would have never heard of Steve Perry in today's market, and that's how criminal is that?
Because he's so talented. I mean, it's just, that is criminal. Yeah, he's an amazing singer. Amazing. You know, I'm a huge fan.
Absolutely.
So what's next? You guys have a tour or anything like that coming up?
We're not going out on the road until late summer. We're still putting the dates together. We have our big record release party here at the Gramercy Theater in New York City. We're hoping it's going to be sold out. It's selling great. That's on July 15th. And we're just doing some local stuff. We'll be up in Boston hopefully this summer, down in Philly, down in Florida, up and down the East Coast. And then hopefully we find ourselves out in California and on the West Coast in the late summer, early fall.
Or Cleveland would be nice.
Or Columbus, Ohio.
No, we hate Columbus. I'll tell you why we hate Columbus.
I think Ten Ton Mojo played Scully's once in Columbus.
Okay.
Yeah.
No Scully's. Here's why Cleveland hates Columbus for a music standpoint. Columbus has one of the big festivals, what is it called now? Sonic Temple.
Sonic Temple.
One of the big. In fact, we have 2 of them because we have Incarnation as well, which is another 2 big giant festivals. The problem is all of the bands that play those 2 festivals have to sign that agreement saying that they won't play within a couple hundred miles for 120 days. So
you can't tack on any shows.
None.
Yeah.
And we get nothing. The closest they come is like Detroit, which is like a 3+ hour drive, and that's like so. What used to be a hub of rock and roll here is now a ghost town. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What's the venue in Cleveland currently? Is it Agora Ballroom?
There's tons of it. There's the Odeon. There's the Agora. There's the Jacobs Pavilion. There's the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, which is the old Gund Arena.
The Wolstein Center.
Blossom Music Center. There's tons of venues. Yeah. There's not tons of bands playing these tons of venues because they all play in Columbus.
Well, they should do is take one of those festivals and move it to Cleveland. Leave one in Columbus, one in Cleveland. You know.
You know what though? I agree with you. I think it's because Columbus is in the center of the state. So the people from Cleveland will drive down. The people from Cincinnati will drive up. Right. You know, if you move it to Cleveland, you cut off Cincinnati. If you move it to Cincinnati, you cut off Cleveland. It's that kind of believe me, these guys know what they're doing with their fancy. Oh yeah,
pockets. No doubt. No doubt they did.
But we were lucky enough to get the Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard 45th Goodbye Tour. So we got that one released.
Yeah. That's always fun.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I love it.
Well, dude, after the record comes out, like you said, you're gonna do some shows, and then you're gonna try and head out to LA. What is the end goal with LA? To try and find a bigger deal or a big tour or a package tour or something?
Sure, all of that stuff. Yeah, you know. But we also like to get out there and play because people know us there. You know,
Okay.
we're a known entity in Los Angeles, so it's a great place for us to visit and play.
Right.
You know,
man.
even though it's very far away from where we are, somehow we've got a following there, and we could go there, hit the Viper Room, and have a great show.
Right on, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, dude, obviously, man, 10 Ton Mojo, new EP, getting ready to drop. Where should we send people to keep up with you guys and keep tour dates and buy merch and all that stuff?
One-stop shop, www.tentonmojo.com. It's got all the links to all the social media, to the Bandcamp, to the T-shirts, to the CD, to the singles, to the cassettes. So stop on by our website, walk around, and help yourself to whatever you might like.
Can I make one complaint? I'm just going to complain one thing about you because I love you. I love the music. It's fucking fantastic. Yeah. But I looked at the shirts, and you don't make anything big enough for fat guys like me. All right?
Hey, man.
Send us in Cleveland, we eat a little bit.
Yeah. Brats.
Yeah.
Fried bologna sandwiches.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Well, send me an email. Send us an email. Let us know your size. We'll figure it out. We'll get something out to you guys.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, very good. So. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I figured what we would do is we would give people another taste of your music to wrap up with, and I figured you have the video for Carmelita out there. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about this video and this song to wrap this up.
Cool. Carmelita is a song about a kind of a fictional love affair between a guy who has to go to Mexico to meet his girlfriend. It came up just kind of as like a storytelling kind of song, and we just kind of rolled with it. The fictional girl's name is Carmelita, and that's how we came up with it. Also, Linda Ronstadt did a song called Carmelita years ago. We kind of borrowed it from there, I got to say. We were like, oh, we love that name. That's perfect for the lyric. And it came together, and it's just a song about being in love and you know, making a traveling to meet your girl, you know.
Excellent. Well, one more time, 10 Ton Mojo out there now, or out there June 30th with the new release. There is music out there now for you to check out. And we will check out Carmelita right now. And Scott, thanks so much for joining us here on the Seth Williams Show.
Thanks so much for having me, man. I had a blast. Take care. All right, peace. Later.
Peace.
Crossing the border in a dusty Chevrolet, 100 miles an hour with nothing in my way. Through the sunset and through her face and eye, I've been looking for my baby, been looking for my high, yeah, yeah. Now I